Hey, Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. And this time we have the Yahiko VG-10 Damascus Yo or Western handled Gyuto 240mm knife. So this line of knives uses a core steel or the hard core center cutting steel of VG-10 full stainless steel. Heat treat is not specified, at least at the time of this video on the site, but I would say it's typically around 60 to 61 Rockwell on most cases. The construction is multiple layers of soft stainless cladding on either side of that hard core steel, and they've also got a hammered or tsushime finish on it. And then you can see where it gets ground down from the blade flats down to the edge. You can see the layers peeking out there towards the edge, and there's your core steel peeking out and the shiny edge bevel. So it's an all stainless blade. The weight and dimension should be similar from knife to knife, but could vary a little bit. This particular one is 255 grams or 9 ounces. Edge length, these are a little bit oversized, so this is 245 on the edge or 9.6 inches. Overall length is about 370 millimeters or 14.6, so it's a fairly decent sized blade. The spine thickness is similar between I think I measured 2.1 on the WA version of this, but some of that's due to the hammering. It's a little hard to get measurements sometimes. But this one I got about 2.2 millimeters. Come on, camera. There you go. 2.2 millimeters all the way down, pretty much the same thickness until you hit the grind. So there's your grind, and you can see the tip thins out pretty nicely. It's not super duper thin, and it's not a laser, but it does thin out pretty well. As long as you keep this sharp, the performance should be, pretty darn good. It's not a laser, but it's got solid performance. This one, this style of knife tends to benefit from keeping it really sharp. So there's your grind. It's fairly thin at the edge. Blade height is pretty tall, which is good because the neck is kind of standard width for a Western style, which is, fairly wide. So you still got pretty good clearance there for your fingers. So that's the blade height at the back. Handle is kind of your basic black Pack-A-Wood, which is a stabilized resin impregnated wood product. And you've got nice fit and finish on the handle, the rivets, full tang construction. Looks like a pinned-on bolster, but everything's finished nicely. Let's see, balance point. This is where this knife is available in a WA or Japanese handled version as well. And the biggest difference is the weight. I think the other one was 6.5. This one's 9. And then the balance point. So the balance point comes back here just in front of the choil or the back of the blade, versus on the WA one, it's kind of up here. So this will give you a more conventional balance point if you're used to that Western style handle. Just depends on what kind of package you're interested in. Here's the look of the blade. That's a pretty good shot to show you all the stuff going on there. So you've got hand chiseled kanji. The hammering is cool. On the left side of the blade as you would be using it, it's basically the same thing without the kanji on it. They've put a little bit of polish on the spine and just a little bit of relief on the corners. And they've done the same thing for the corners of the choil into the bolster here. So it's pretty comfortable right out of the box. The edge, I'd say it's pretty sharp. It had a fairly coarse edge bevel as far as finish goes. Looked like a fairly quick edge on it, but it's pretty sharp. I'd say 6 out of 10. It's a fairly nicely formed bevel, so you could definitely polish this up a little bit and work with that bevel and get it sharper for sure. The edge bevel itself, I'd say, was about 40%, 60%, so 40-60 left to right. That means the actual thickness of the edge bevel is a little bit wider. Shouldn't say thickness, but it's a little wider on the right side than the left side. If that tends to maybe steer for you a little bit, if you're a lefty, you can easily polish it, or I should say sharpen it a little bit more on the left side to bring that back towards center if you want to make it more 50-50. What else here? I think that's about it. It's a fairly stiff blade. Let's look at the cutting board profile. Basically, this is almost exactly the same knife as the Yo version, or excuse me, the Western, sorry, getting mixed up here, the WA or Japanese version. So the blade profile is basically very, very similar. There'll be a little bit of variance from exact sample to sample on the edge profile, but this one is pretty typical like the other one. It's fairly curvy, and then kind of a gentle curve all the way to the tip. You don't get super aggressive at the tip, so that's about as high as I can get on a rock, but you could easily massage this tip a little bit for the last couple of millimeters or so by sharpening it and upsweep it a little more. You wanted to bring it up a little bit, and then you could probably get a little more height on that rock. So this will rock nicely. It's a smooth profile. Probably not a great chopper, but definitely will handle rocking, glide cuts, push-pull cuts, that stuff, no problem. So you got 4 flavors here. You got the 210, the 240, you got the Western handled versions, and you got the Japanese handled version. So this particular one is the Yahiko VG-10 Damascus Yo or Western Gyuto 240 millimeter knife.